there were a couple times in my career they're like, all right, you have X amount of sliders to throw in this game. Go, figure it out. I guess it worked. I still ended up blowing out, so there we go. Yeah.
Chris Sale, the All-Star Atlanta Braves lefty, joining us right now on FT, and we're thrilled to have you, Chris. So,
does it count, though? Hold on. Does it count you're an All-Star because you moved your pitch day, so you were scared to not pitch in the All-Star game?
You know, I've been embarrassed on national TV enough. I'm going to leave it to these guys. Let the big dogs go out there and throw their 100. I'm going to sit back and enjoy it.
There was a day now where you were like, I can throw 100. Why can't I pitch?
That was a few surgeries ago.
but we brought that up. I brought that up just the other day, and I'm so glad you're on because that is a searing memory for me. You coming out and being like, "Oh, I got one inning. I'm gonna let this thing eat." And to me, that showed what you really had. And I know guys in the clubhouse talked about it. So when big league guys talk about it, and then you go out there and you're like, "Oh, I can do this," and you just blew guys away. Did you have that in your head before you went in there?
In All-Star games?
That All-Star game, the first one where you came out and you were like, you were normally like a 99 guy, and then you came out and you were just like 101 the whole time. Did you have that in your head, or was that just kind of spur of the moment?
I think, too, just like with adrenaline and just knowing, like, as a starter, like you have more innings to carry. If I'm going out there for one inning, it's just just let it rip. I got one sprint to run as opposed to like a marathon. So,
okay.
You know, it's fun throwing hard.
But see, that confuses me because when you first came up, you were a closer and you didn't throw 100. So that's like, what changed? How did you go from like 92 when you were a little thumber to now all of a sudden I can throw 100?
Well, I went to the gym and I just got really jacked, and now that I got all these big muscles, I can throw a little bit harder now.
Different catcher.
Yeah,
he wasn't calling the right pitches, right, Trevor?
One.
It wasn't the right one.
No confidence.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
no confidence. Sliders, no confidence.
So you had a fat finger. I needed a skinnier finger.
Oh. Are you saying possible John Smoltz situation moving forward? You know, one day you're like, I'm good on starting. Go out to the bullpen, get 300 saves, pitch here 48. What do you think? Sound good?
The day that I'm done being a starter is the day I'm done playing baseball.
All right, hey, it's fun.
I'm a house cat now. You know, it's I like knowing my schedule.
Do you remember the game? I've told this story on here, and these guys don't believe it. You pitched in against Tampa, I think, and you dealt, and you threw a bunch of sliders, and people were kind of like, "Oh, he's going to blow out." And then we went, I think, to Seattle, and Don Cooper told me he got 25 sliders to throw, and I said, "Remember this game?" And I said, "How am I supposed to keep track of that?" And he's like, I don't know. So I put 25 sunflower seeds in my pocket, and every time you throw one, I click one out. So I knew when I ran out.
I remember there were a couple times in my career they're like, all right, you have X amount of sliders to throw in this game. Go, figure it out. And, I guess it worked. I still ended up blowing out, so there we go.
Did they do that for an injury standpoint, or did they not explain it? Or was it like, hey, we need you to develop your other pitches?
I think it was more so just like the injury thing. Because in 2012, I had in early May, remember I got sent back to I started for April, ran into a little flexor thing, went to the bullpen, kind of had conversations to get back into the starting rotation. Yeah, you remember those conversations. I use that word loosely, but
arguing.
Well, there were conversations, and I got back into starting, and I think it was more so like, all right, let's try to not hurt this guy for the long haul.
It worked, but you still blew out.
Yeah.
So I
10 years later,
but everybody blows out now, right? I mean, there's very few guys that don't blow out at this point.
And there's a lot of guys having it for the second time too, which is kind of alarming. But it's just, you know, that's the risk you take being a big league pitcher now. You know, like you sign that dotted line, you got to go out there and toe the rubber, and that's just kind of the risk for the reward that we seek.
How much is that talked about? Do the young guys bring it up and ask the vets, like, hey, what's the best way to preserve myself and prevent injury? Or are they just like, if it happens, it happens?
I think it's more so that one. Just there's no real formula that says like, okay, you're not going to blow out. And, it was, you can put pitch counts on guys. You can stress, recovery, massage therapy, shoulder program. But there's no, like, you have guys that take really good care of themselves and blow out. And then you got guys that don't and don't blow out. Yep. Is it the pitch count? Guys were, Nolan Ryan was throwing 200 pitches in an outing and then throwing on 3 days rest and never had it. And then you got guys that are on really strict pitch counts that blow out.
Let's be very clear here. 10 years with no injuries is pretty impressive. And to go that long, everyone gets hurt at some point. We're just not meant to do this. But you spent almost no time in the minors, correct? You were like straight to the big leagues, and which is becoming maybe not that fast, but it's becoming more and more common that guys are getting up faster.
He was there in a month. He spent a month down there. He really grinded it out.
Yeah, I almost got 6 years.
In Charlotte, though, so that's extra.
Yeah.
Did you go to Charlotte or were you
I went to
Birmingham?
the old Charlotte.
That's what I mean, the old
yeah.
Charlotte. So that's
Winston-Salem and then the old
We
Charlotte.
drafted him in June, and then he was there in August. And we're like, what?
How old's this guy? Yeah. And now everyone's got 2 Chris Sales on their team. So what was the hardest part about just going straight from college pretty much to the big leagues? Like
dealing with this guy.
I can only imagine.
Yeah, but you couldn't. If you had somebody soft that was a catcher, I don't think it would have built. Maybe you can answer better. I don't think it would have built you to what you are.
No, and I definitely did appreciate that too. I think that I say this all the time, and people ask me what I don't shake at all, right? Like I don't look at reports, I don't do any scouting, I don't watch video, I just go pitch. And people ask me like how I've done that. And then like if you think about my not only my entire career but my entire life, I've never called a pitch. Like I'm in Little League, it's the coaches calling it. Get to high school, my coach is calling it. I got to college, I dare you to shake off your college coach. I dare you.
Even at FGCU?
Yeah.
You know what? You should have shook off the one you threw to DeGrom where he hit it off the
That
car.
was that's the only one. And check the tape. That was a bomb.
I know. He hit the car
That was
by.
a freaking bomb. But and then I get to the minor leagues. I'm a first rounder. I'm the new guy. Like I'm not going to be the a-hole to shake off these guys. And then I get to the big leagues and he's my first catcher. Like I'm not going to shake.
The a-hole.
I'm not going to shake him off. And then I got Burley as he was the guy when I first got to Chicago. Like he was the guy, and he never shook off. So it's like I had never called a pitch for myself in my entire life, and then I'm going to get to 24 years old and start doing that. Like, just kind of makes it easier for me to just go out there and compete.
Yep. What changed this year? I mean, besides health, right? Because you were one of the most dominant dudes forever. Okay, then obviously you went to the Red Sox, you won the World Series, and then things started happening. You started getting hurt. You falling off bikes. You jumping in front of cars and all these crazy things. But
It's playing Frogger.
Yeah, seriously,
Real life Frogger.
Probably would have had better luck with that, honestly.
But what changed this year? I mean, besides health, right? I mean, you're 13-3 with a 2. I picked you to win the Cy Young, so no pressure. But
Try not to screw that up.
But what changed?
I just think it was the health aspect of it. I finally had a full off season. Like every off season since 2018, I've gone into the off season rehabbing something. Whether it be my shoulder after the World Series, my elbow the next year, the wrist, the pinky, all that stuff the year after that. I started throwing bullpens this past offseason at the time where I started just picking up a baseball in previous off seasons. So I just think being able to get my feet underneath me and I just had to throw. I just had to get a lot of throwing done. You know how it goes, man. Like I played so much long toss this offseason. I was probably 15 bullpens deep before I got to spring training.
You were trying to make the team.
Yeah, well, let's try not to suck,
He would have gone to winter ball if he was trying to make the team.
Yeah, pitching. I mean, what I have 140, 150 innings over the last 4 years, and I had 5 ERA. That's not fun, going out there and throwing primetime batting practice is not not the funnest thing to do. So it was I was able to, kind of lock it in and take it serious and get a lot of throwing and just baseball activity done this offseason.
You mentioned all the injuries and just kind of having to battle through one thing after the other. And, I've been there for a little bit, not quite that long, but a little bit. And is there something to getting that full offseason, obviously, but also like kind of getting a clean slate where that baggage isn't associated with the team? Like being in a training room in Boston, you have this like, I'm always here rehabbing. It's not normal, right? And having kind of the whole atmosphere kind of change, did that help and get better, you think?
I think so. And it's no knock on Boston or anybody there. Like those guys were amazing. Like what they did for me, not only in my career, but in my life personally, for me and my family, I'll never be able to repay them. But I do think that I put a lot on myself when I was there. I get traded over there. We win the World Series, show up the next spring training, sign this big contract, and then from that point on, literally was the worst part of my entire career. And I just felt like every time I stepped on a mound, I was trying to prove this, right? And that's just not clean living. That's a tough way to go through your career, or through an outing, or through a year. Is every pitch I throw, I got this contract on my mind, or trying to show this, prove this, or whatever. And once I got here, it was kind of okay. Like, hey, you got a clean slate. Like the trailer kind of got unhitched, and and obviously the clubhouse is great. This is a great team we have in Atlanta. The staff is amazing. The fan base is awesome. And so that all those things kind of together got me kind of going in the right direction.
Can you say, yes, I was a change of scenery guy? And would you have said that before? Because all of what you just said kind of feels like it is, because we always talk about that. And did you think that before the season started?
I think it would be unfair to a lot of people that helped me out to say that it was only the change of scenery. But I do think that it had an impact for sure.
Okay.
And I never would have really tabbed myself as a change of scenery guy. Wherever I'm at, you hand me the ball, I'm getting after it, no matter what. But I definitely do think that had some help.
I'm not getting you out of here without asking you a White Sox question.
Love it.
So it has nothing to do. You're not going to think where I'm going. So they have a guy that's at the All-Star game, Garrett Crochet.
Yes, he's better than me. That guy's.
No, that also wasn't what I was going to ask. But do you have any advice for him? Because they brought him up quick like you. They put him in the bullpen. He got hurt. He blew out, and now he's starting, and he's thrown more innings this year than he's ever thrown maybe in his life. Do you have any advice for him about how to manage that, how to control being a starter, and how to get through the year and stay healthy?
I think if you look at his year and you look at my year, I should have more questions to ask him. But I think with him, he just keep doing what he's doing. He looks like his stuff is there every game, right? So I think he's bouncing back well. I mean, you look at just his body, the physicality of it. I mean, he's a big boy. Like it looks like he's prepared to make this jump and to do this. And I just, more so than anything, just stay on your routine, because whatever he's been doing has been working. So just carry that through the second half and just keep competing. I mean, just keep filling up the strike zone, because that stuff is, it's unhittable every time.
By the way, I have a present for you, but are you going to start tight roll? You're going to start tight rolling your pants the way he does, like 90s? No, this is not.
What's that? I got too skinny of legs to show these things off.
True. I have a present for you. So Adidas has brought you a present for the All-Star Home Run Derby. Since they have Adolis Garcia, El Bombi, they brought you a bomb pop. So you can have that.
El Bombi pops.
What is this? Is this legal?
Huh?
Is this legal?
I don't know.
This thing was brought in a special bag with dry ice.
What are these?
Oh, Bombi Pops.
No,
These
Bombi
are
Pops.
I was like, is that under
Adidas?
ice? It is under ice.
Yeah.
Sick.
It's an Adidas
This
popsicle?
is sick.
Yeah. I
Adidas.
come bearing gifts.
Yeah.
on a hot.
Yeah, another company I've been stealing money from for the last few years, so I can finally give them some well respected publicity.
Well, they still love you.
They still love you. I mean, no other way of showing love than a hot day. Yeah, no.
I don't need to be chipping any of these chicklets.
Yeah. No,
You paid a lot for them.
I was going to say, them Johns
You
paid a lot for those.
Oh, you remember these Central Florida teeth I had before?
I remember those Lakeland teeth, trust me.
Maybe we could save these as a collector's item. I got to go find a freezer.
I'm eating mine.
Chris, thanks for swinging by. We're going to take a break. Appreciate you swinging by. How is it? Good?
What's that?
Is it good?
This thing is hard as a rock, but
Yeah, they seem like
okay, you went full.
That's delicious.
Yeah,
I went full. It's okay.
All right.
We're censored. Come on.
We'll
just
be
a
right
blurred
back.
line across
Tanner
here.
blurred
Scott
lines.
is joining us next. All right, let's talk about Babbel for a moment here. 1 in 5 Americans have learned a new language on their bucket list, and Eric Kratz was so excited to try and display his Japanese to Shota Imanaga, and you got the boot. You were kind of the last man.
I got the boot. It was my opportunity to actually use my Japanese that I've been practicing, and I didn't get it. I think it's probably a content miss, but nobody's scrolling on to be like, oh, Shota? I wonder if Eric is on. No, they're like, I want to know what the fellow pitcher said. I want to know what the Fringe Hall of Fame catcher said. So, hey, you get the boot. When you get the boot, you get the boot.
If you speak it fluently by next year, you'll
I'm
make the
definitely
set.
Because then we don't need his interpreter.
Exactly.
You're the
That is why Eric didn't
I'm the
make the cut.
interpreter.
We have 5 seats on
That would
the
be
desk,
that would
or
be
on
an
the-
absolute flex if I learned it fluently. But one app can do it for me. It's already I am on like the basic level of learning it.
Yeah, I mean, I know obviously you can do 10 minutes a day on Babbel. If you're trying to get fluent in Japanese by next year, you might have to spend more like 15, 20 a day.
I have to do more than 10
Yeah.
minutes.
In
It's
fairness.
definitely 15 minutes a day.
Yeah, at least.
Yeah.
15. Maybe
Because
Yeah.
but they set that out on the app. They set that out. They test your level, and like I have a tough time with the U and and E noises. Not even just like getting to the letters and the symbols, but then they put you at the basic, and then they say how much time do you have per day, and when do you want to learn it by. So if I put it 1 year in Atlanta, fluent, they would get me there.
That's the speech recognition technology. So the deal for FT listeners and watchers, there it is. Up to 60% off your Babbel subscription. Only for FT fam. Babbel.com/foul, F-O-U-L. Up to 60% off at Babbel.com/FOUL. Rules and restrictions may apply. With Babbel, you can learn everything you need to have real-world conversations, from vocab words to culture, and all it takes is just 10 minutes a day, maybe 20 for Kratz.
Hey everybody, be sure to like and subscribe for more content.
We're back here every weekday, all year long, so do not miss an episode.
The videos are coming in all day. Here's another video you might enjoy.
Baseball the way it should be covered.